Welcome in everybody to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB Zach Brown, and joined with me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad Jeff Brown. What a heck of a weekend in Homestead, Miami. Some great racing, and if you're a Kyle Larson fan, for the whole entire week, he went 3 for 4 for racing, and he was one aggressive push from Sam Mayer from getting a weekend sweep and winning 4 races in a single week, if you include the high limit series. And it was not easy by any means, especially the trucks and the Cup Series, not easy for him at all. Cup Series thought he was down and out, but he was able to make up ground and be 1/4 inch away from the wall. And he was the one running the high line the best, like we expected at Homestead. Comes away with the win, locks himself in the playoff. I mean, we expected that anyways. And he was the favorite for a reason. Homestead wasn't a dominating win, but it was an impressive win.
Yeah, the one thing that was actually kind of out of the ordinary for Larson is their race strategy was perfect. That car had a really long run, was super fast at the end of the runs compared to everybody else. They took tires later. You know, a lot of times we always question their race strategy, but they hit it right on the head this time. You know, it would have been interesting to see if Blaney wouldn't have blew the engine. You know, Blaney was real fast for the first 3/4 of a run. Larson was super fast for the last quarter. Would they have battled it out there at the end? I don't know. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see that, but you know, it's a shame for Blaney, and that's weird. You don't see engine failures like that. That was
was
like
a catastrophic
rod
failure.
or something. That thing.
Yeah, that was a catastrophic failure in that engine, and yeah, his luck is the worst this year, and the cars have been really fast for him. He just has no finishes. Well, he has a couple finishes, but not anything too impressive to show for it. I mean, he's had a couple race winning cars, and bad luck has happened to him. Yeah, with Larson, and it was kind of funny. Larry McReynolds was like, "This is a strategy is never going to work," basically saying what Larson and Denny Hamlin were doing, splitting it right down the middle. And they're like, "This is never going to work. That's the dumbest strategy ever." And it ended up being the race winning strategy.
Yeah.
So clearly, Larry Mack wasn't right on all of that. I think Larson's car was so fast. I don't think anybody expected it didn't fall off nearly as much as other cars did. He was still keeping it within a second and a half of off the pace from the leader with worn tires and then new tires. So it worked out, and cautions went their way this time. And Alex Bowman tried a little too hard, got into the fence.
Yeah.
And he even posted on X that he was he was a little it was something he was like struck by the greatness of Larson or something, and he hit the wall, messed up himself. So but Bowman's looking good too. Really the only one that's not looking great in the points races is Chase Elliott. He's just kind of been
and
outside
he's
looking
sixth in points. I mean, it's not like he's bad.
Well, when I'm thinking bad is not as good as the other 3, but the Hendrick camp is that they've got it figured out right now. They got speed. I mean, Chase won the Clash, so I mean, expect him kind of foreshadowing be decent at Martinsville. And yeah, the Xfinity Series, Larson had one taken away at the late. That was a caution that costed him. And Mayer had a really aggressive push. Nothing really against Mayer.
I don't blame him. You know,
he was trying to get
a little sooner.
I think Larson spun the tires some on that too. I don't think it was perfect restart by him by any means. The Truck Series was a great race. The whole weekend was a great race. Homestead, it continues to deliver, and it's one of the best tracks on the circuit right now.
But, you know, wore out track, tires fall off. It makes
banking.
comers and goers. There's, you know. And I saw people posting that the race was boring. I'm like, what the hell race were you watching?
No, many different
bunch of lead changes. I mean, Blaney
and we'll be honest with you. We say it's a boring race, so yeah, we'll say it. We don't care. Like we'll be straight up.
There's a lot of lead changes and a lot of people, you know, coming from the back to the front. I mean, Blaney stunk it up for part of the race, but you know it was still interesting. At the end of the runs, all of a sudden, you know, those guys are falling off and the other guys are coming. It got pretty interesting.
If people get a little more patient and just watch strategies unfold, that's when the excitement starts happening. Yeah. And a lot of parity happens there. You got a great weekend. We were texting back and forth. That would be an awesome weekend, I think.
That'd be fun.
To go watch all 3 series.
That was
And
a good race.
it still should be the championship race, in my opinion, especially with this generation car. It would be a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, that would be an interesting championship, but just the way the fall off is there, just it's a track. It's similar to Darlington on how you have to run the track and the way the strategy is and the tire strategy and all that stuff. So I think that would be a more fun championship race. I agree with that. I wouldn't hate to see them going back there. I think
And like I said, I'd like to see them rotate it between 3 different tracks.
Yeah.
Do it every 2-3 years, rotate it.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that difficult. And it's not like Miami's not a good venue hosting town.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's, plenty of hotels and things to do in the area. And, I was looking at it to be like an hour or so from Key Largo, which I've never been down to the Keys. It'd be kind of a cool trip just to run down there and see that from Miami. It's, 4.5 hours from here. So yeah, I would love to make that trip. I think that'd be awesome weekend.
Well, we go completely different racetrack this weekend. I actually went to this race last year, and Hendrick stunk it up last year. If I'm not mistaken, it was 1, 2, 3, 4.
Was it?
And
okay.
I'm pretty certain. And William Byron ended up beating out, I think Larson was second. And it was a great race. That's where they were all in the Ruby cars.
Okay.
And it was a boring race. This car just doesn't do great on short tracks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. High horsepower would change it on the small tracks. We've been saying it, especially Martinsville, when there's not too many grooves. I think higher
you need
horsepower.
the horsepower to drive past people down the straightaway. I mean,
because it's nothing at Martinsville now. You just downshift and just if you can't make a corner, you just downshift and make the corner that way. And Denny Hamlet's been saying that a lot. Yeah, this is a fantastic venue though. This track is great. It is an old school feel. It's a very small town, and it'll be pretty packed. It was packed last year. It's terrible to get out, and traffic's terrible. There's one way to get in and out, and it was awful. That's the one downside to Martinsville, but it's a fun. It's a lot more fun when you're at the track to watch the race. Watching the race on TV is a little bit more boring. This 400-mile race is a lot better than the 500. I will say that.
Yeah.
Shorter race, and people take a lot more chances this time because they're not trying to just get on by and make into the championship 4. Last year, Christopher Bell and other ones from previous years. I'm just going to say it. I think it's going to be a very Chevy heavy short track race. I think you'll see Chevys be very prominent here. You were right about the Chevys having the entire weekend sweep in Homestead. I'm thinking it might be this weekend too.
No, I said I didn't think they would. I thought a Toyota would win the truck race.
Oh, that's right.
You said the Chevys were going to win them all.
No, I had Tyler Reddick.
The truck race was probably Corey Heim.
Well, no, I had Tyler Reddick in the Cup, so I didn't.
Okay.
But I knew Chevys were going to be strong. But I think this weekend, just the way the Chevys are set up, and especially the Hendrick cars, they've kind of got it going. They've got Martinsville figured out.
Against Hendrick cars at Martinsville.
Yeah.
But then you throw Virginia native Denny Hamlin in there who gets around Martinsville.
Yeah, there's a few drivers you can pick for this one. It'll be a better race than the 500, like I said. Brakes right now will be a thing to watch based on a bunch of failures we've seen with the engines. It wouldn't surprise me to see some brake failures in this race.
Yeah, it's not as bad anymore. They run such, I think they're 18-inch wheels now compared to 15, so they get huge brakes on those things. So the brake issue is not normally as bad. Now they can still overheat those brakes and then get the pads chatter, and then it makes it a little more difficult on the driver. Don't want to stop, but for the most part, it's not like it used to be where 3/4 of the race, they had the brake pads were gone. There was no more brakes left. So I don't think you'll see that. Now they do have a habit of breaking those brake rotors every now and then. So that could be more of a failure than the pads wearing out, I think.
Well, the big thing happening this week is that Corey Day is making his Xfinity Series debut at Martinsville.
I did not know that. Good for Corey.
Yep.
Hope he has does
He's
well.
racing the 17 car.
Okay.
He races 2 or 3 races in Xfinity. He's kept it clean when he's raced in the Truck Series. He's gotten solid finishes. That's all they can really ask for him right now. He's
Yeah.
19. I mean, damn.
He's got to learn.
Yeah, and he didn't really grow up doing all that type of racing. It's been dirt
Right.
racing. He's from California. Did a bunch of sprint car racing the entire time. He's just natural talent. He'll do all right. It'll the biggest thing is if he just keeps it clean, doesn't get in a wreck. That's really for anyone at Martinsville. It's going to be a crash fest with the Truck Series on Friday night. That's 100% happening. This should be a nighttime race for the Cup Series. I've been saying it. For the spring race at Martinsville,
Yeah.
make it a night race.
Could be a little chilly.
I don't care. It's not gonna be that bad. It's felt really good. It'll be nice and cool. It's not gonna be as cold as the
Sunday
Clash was.
night, and that makes it a pain. So it's
Well, it doesn't need to be Sunday night. It needs to be Saturday night.
I understand that, but they won't do that.
How easy would it be just do Thursday night trucks, Friday nights Xfinity, and Saturday night Cup?
Friday night trucks, Xfinity during the day, Saturday, and Cup race at night.
Yeah. Well, let's give our fantasy lineup for Martinsville.
Which mom kicked our butts again last week?
Well, it didn't help that I put Ryan Blaney in, and
she did not have Ryan Blaney. We both had Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, and he blew up in the third stage. That was my luck.
Yeah, and I had William Byron had a speeding penalty at the end and couldn't.
Yeah, so did I. It was just catastrophic. All right, so my lineup for this week for Martinsville. There's going to be a theme here. Wait till you hear what it is. I've got William Byron.
Similar theme.
I've got William Byron, Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson. I have all Hendricks and Denny. And in my garage, I have just for short track experience, I got Josh Berry. And in the matchups this week, this is not easy because they're going Hendrick against Hendrick. So,
yeah, I know.
Kyle Larson versus Byron. I got to go with the guy that just had the previous win. He's the hottest one right now, Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott versus Ryan Blaney. You would like to think that Blaney's going to turn his luck around, but right now I feel like I keep jinxing him if I keep picking him. So I'm picking Chase Elliott. Bubba Wallace versus Alex Bowman. I'm picking Bowman. And Chase Briscoe versus Ross Chastain. Briscoe might be a little bit of a sleeper here, but I am picking Chastain. He's not going to obviously do the Chastain ride the wall, but it's not going to be the Hail Melon. Can't do that anymore. But he's still a pretty solid Martinsville racer.
Yeah. Well, we're close. Our matchups are quite a bit different. So what I got in my starters, I have Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Ryan Blaney. I did not put Larson in here. I'm saving him for mile and a half tracks like Darlington. In my garage, I got Christopher Bell. So in the matchups, I have William Byron over Larson. It's hard to go against the 24 at Martinsville. I do have Ryan Blaney over Chase Elliott. Like you said, sooner or later, his luck's got to not suck. I do have Alex Bowman over Bubba, and I have Chastain over Briscoe as well.
All right. Now it's time to give our picks to win the race at Martinsville. So I'll go first. This guy came so close last week. He could taste the victory. I think he's got to get a win here on an oval coming up. And he does have a lot of momentum. He's eager to get out to Martinsville. I've got Bowman the Showman, Alex Bowman, to win at Martinsville.
That'd be cool. That'd be a popular win. Well, I'm going to go with his teammate. Like I said before, it's hard to beat this car at Martinsville. Got to go with the 24 of William Byron. Mom's pick is Denny Hamlin for the week.
But at least we're all different now.
Yeah.
All right. So what I wanted to do, I put this out on X, so I'm releasing it for this show, and the graphic will be on the screen. I've had terrible luck losing by like one driver that blows up Ryan Blaney, getting my top 10 parlay in DraftKings. So I'm shifting it a little bit. I'm starting. It's technically a ladder challenge for NASCAR week by week. One driver to get a top 10 with the best odds, I think, for that driver. So basically, for best bang for your buck. This week, the driver to get a top 10, it's minus 130. I think it's a great deal, almost double your money, give or take. I've got Alex Bowman to get a top 10 finish at Martinsville.
Okay. I think that's relatively safe pick.
I think it's a really good,
He's been
good bang for
fast
the buck.
everywhere this year.
Yeah, I think it's a good value pick, and we'll see. Now, according to DraftKings, the hot pick this week is Ryan Blaney. If he will do fine if he doesn't blow up or have something catastrophic happen.
Yeah, I don't like I said.
I
They,
just
they
can't
hardly
I
ever
can't
have
pick
any
him
engine
because I keep
failures like
jinxing. Now this week he'll win.
that. I do
Joey
have it,
Logano's
so
also
he's
a hot
trouble.
pick. This year, though, he's been a little shaky on things. So watch out when you pick the winner here. It says to avoid Tyler Reddick. I do agree with that. He doesn't run the best at Martinsville. He's always 15th to 20th. I don't know why.
That's not his
Not his
forte of a
style.
track.
Avoid Daniel Suarez. I agree with that. And it does say a sleeper, and why he's in one of the matchups is Chase Briscoe this week.
He's been starting to creep up on the speed a little bit here the last couple of weeks. The car's been run. Big difference going from Martin Truex Jr. to Chase Briscoe. They still got to learn, all the communication and how things like it. And they're starting to pick up a little bit of speed right now.
Yeah, and it goes to show you. I think a change is good for Briscoe and that whole team.
Yeah, sometimes a change is good for everybody. It just,
yeah.
Things get stale.
Well, they do have drag racing this weekend, but time constraints and everything. We're not going to give our picks. I'll post some picks out on X later. Just know that I sucked this week on drag racing. The week before I did all right.
Yeah, I think we both did.
It's right now. It might be more of a parody than last year of who wins.
Yeah.
And in IndyCar, big shocker, Alex Palou won the million.
Yeah, that was a snooze fest. And Fox, why you have IndyCar and NASCAR on at the same time?
Yeah, I thought the IndyCar would have been at if it was at noon, it was California. So
I
just do it after the race.
But
just do it after the NASCAR race.
But
because it's 3 hours behind.
It was great though. The NASCAR race went right into drag racing. That was kind of nice. I don't know. There's too much racing going on, and then all of a sudden, I guess the IndyCar TV control trailer or whatever lost power, and they went back to the NASCAR race. And,
yeah.
And you didn't miss a damn thing. That's the whole thing. It just that was
didn't lead every lap
fest like last year.
Well, he didn't lead every lap.
No, but it was still pretty. I tuned in and I don't know what he was, like 11 seconds ahead at one point.
He just got a knack for those type of tracks. It just comes down to can he do well on ovals to really set himself apart.
Yeah.
That's where people can make up ground on him for the championship. And we'll see that here in a few weeks. High Limit and Outlaws delivered once again some good racing, especially
Outlaws,
High Limit.
Not so much.
High Limit was really good racing. Larson won the race he was in, but they're back. I think this week they're back on the Selena High Banks.
Is that what
if I'm not, because I kept seeing it like, hey, last year at Selena High Banks, McFadden went for a flippy flipper. So that's when Sweet booted him into the outside.
If you didn't see the Wednesday night race that Larson won, the track was super rough, and he was just running. He basically ran the sprint car, the truck, the Xfinity, and the Cup cars all the same way, wide the frick open. He was bouncing, and he was the only one that was getting through those ruts. It was an impressive run. Those guys would hit that and screw up, and he never slowed down. It was unreal.
Oh, and for the Cup Series win, that is Kyle Larson's 30th win. He is the 30th driver in NASCAR history to reach that mark. He's nowhere close to being done. He'll at least get 50 in his career, at the very least.
I would think so.
And I would have.
That was 23 wins with Hendrick or something like that.
That sounds about right. I mean, it just shows that's just kind of a match made in heaven with both of them.
Yeah.
But I think Hendrick will get every one of the drivers is going to make the playoffs.
I think so. Yeah, Bowman's going to get a win. He's just been too fast this year.
I'm hoping this weekend, so I'm right.
I mean, I got him in fantasy too. I'd be all right with him getting the win.
Bowman's stays
very
quiet.
He don't ever say much. I hope he gets a win. And that car was freaking sharp last week.
Yeah,
That was a good looking car.
Speaking of good looking cars, for next week at Darlington, we will do a segment. It's going to be hell yeah or hell nah.
Yeah.
And we're going to put the graphic of the throwback scheme, because there's going to be a couple more unveiled in this next week. So we'll do it next week.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, hell yeah or hell no. And just FYI, it's going to be a hell yeah for Larson's car, because that was my favorite paint scheme
Yeah.
ever.
That was for sure yours.
Yes, the Frosted Flake one is amazing, and they did a really good job once again on Larson's car. There's a bunch of cool ones that we'll see. We'll show next week.
Yep.
But I think that does it for this week. If you want an NHRA picks, sorry, we'll probably jinx them anyways if we picked them.
Yeah, I've been really sucking bad on HR picks. That's
so we might just post it and just be a little safer on that end. Make sure you get that ladder challenge bet in now before they do qualifying, because if Alex Bowman starts on the pole or in the front, that odds will change and it will not be that good of a value anymore. So put it in now while you got the chance, before Friday and Saturday when they start running practice and qualifying. They're going to change it. I think that's the best value for this week. So this is week number 1 for that, and we'll just roll it over every single week until we lose, or just stop whenever we get up a decent amount. Whatever you guys want to do, whatever tickles your fancy.
Yeah.
But make sure you follow on all social media platforms, anywhere you get your podcasts, on YouTube page as well, and share. And we'll see you guys next week.
all right. See you next week, everybody.